I'm a great believer in not reinventing the wheel, learning from others, whether it be successes or failures. And sometimes you can learn more from failure. And so I thought, do you know what? I'll spend a couple of months putting a book together. It took me about a year in the end, but that's okay. And I asked proactively and also to people I knew in the industry to give me their biggest secret, really, about their success or failure of running their MSP or how to run an MSP. So a combination of MSP owners and IT professionals in perhaps the vendor space as well. And as I say, about a year later, I pulled together 85 contributors and 101 secrets across a whole bunch of different areas: sales, marketing, service, recruitment, management. And at the back, some personal stories, actually, which I really enjoyed hearing and writing about, because people have been quite open about the mental health side of things, actually. And I think we've touched on this briefly around here, the emotions of running a small business, whatever field you may be in. And, it's tough. It's hard. And I'm sure people listening to this can agree with me. If you've had it easy for 10 years, then well done, because it rarely works like that. But you have to have the downs to have the ups. And that's the joy for me of small business. So yes, that the book was published about 18 months ago now. And it was a real treat. It's a real privilege to put together. And hey, maybe there's a version 2 one day soon.
I love that. And I want to have a conversation about the mental health bit. I think that this is an important thing for MSPs to worry about. Something that I've learned at church is, at church, we're always talking about the spiritual, but right now I'm going to just talk about the mental. All right. So when you are providing tech support, you are actually doing a few things. You have to fix a problem after diagnosing the problem. You have to be friendly and helpful. And then you also have to be a little bit of a psychiatrist because the person's upset. And depending on the level of severity that the issue or whatever that they're calling about, they may be freaking out, right? So not only do you have to kind of tiptoe around this whole situation and expertly troubleshoot and resolve the thing with great haste, but you also have to talk them off the ledge. And for somebody to continue to do that throughout the day, you're pouring out a lot. And, if you look at my picture here, this is not intentionally half empty or half full, okay? I just have been drinking water and it's what it is. You keep pouring out, but if you don't pour back in, eventually that pitcher runs out, okay? So for those of you that are constantly pouring out to your customers, to your clients, whatever you want to think of them as, you need to find a way to kind of refill, right? For some people that's reading a book. For me, depending on if I can get it in the view here, I've got my guitar. People refill in different ways, but sometimes you just need to go have a beer and a conversation with a friend. You just need to make sure that you're also doing something to have something else pour back into you. Okay. And you can take that, spiritually, unspiritually, however you want. It doesn't matter if you just think about it logically.
I've nothing much for me to add to that other than completely agree with you. And no one's ever mentioned to me before the way perhaps a technician may feel at the end of a day, having gone through 20 tickets and had 5 difficult conversations with a customer. I'll be honest, Steve, I've never thought about that from a technician engineer's perspective. And I think it's a very good point. I tend to come at this from a business owner perspective. And, can you make payroll next month? And we've just lost a big deal. And we've got 3 people leaving us next week, which we weren't expecting. And they, of course, also pile on the pressure. But I think you make a great point. It's about individuals on that help desk as well. And making sure that, taking responsibility for yourself to look after yourself, but it's also responsibility of those in charge to make sure, and particularly with the new theme of remote working coming along. I've spoken to many MSPs about this, and that makes things even harder as people, want to perhaps do a bit of hybrid working, a bit of time at home, a bit of time in the office. And you start to, if you're not careful, lose the bonds that hold people together. And you have to work doubly hard to make sure that people are okay. And of course, that applies to all business, not just in the MSP space. And maybe there is an opportunity there for, as we help people with remote working, to do some education around some of the psychological aspects as well, and best practices for working remotely. There's a brilliant book which came out actually a number of years ago. I'm sure you've heard of Jason Fried, the Basecamp founder. Look up his book, Remote. It's kind of the Bible on this stuff, and it's really good. And this was way before any pandemics hit.